Dryads.
Dryad Street.
Of course, they mispronounce every one of those streets.
The commercial heart of the neighborhood was lined with stores such as the Kansas Delicatessen.
That's where
Jackie got
oh,
her.
Did they make a sandwich at the Kansas Deli? Oh, it was fantastic. Jackie got her and left with her mother.
So you used to go to synagogue every day?
Oh yeah, I went to Cheder. I had a teacher, a man teacher from Israel, and he would be in the back of us, and he would stand behind us, look, two fingers, look in the book. You lifted your eyes from that book one time and you got, look in the book. He'd let you get away with anything, you know. But I did that same thing when I went to high school, and others after school would play ball and do other things. I got back on that streetcar, went straight to shul, and went to my cheder every day from high school.
Wow. So you studied Hebrew from elementary school on through high school?
Yes, I never stopped. When they told me I could stop, I didn't.
Because?
Because I loved languages. I just love, and I still to this day do. Because, you know, on weekends I would go to the junior congregation and go to the services too, you know. And my brother he would sing from the pulpit. He had a beautiful voice and he knew Hebrew very well too. And, you know, my brother was practically the chazan right there. His name was Paul Richard Newman, right there.
Mm-hmm. This picture.
Yes, he died at 37. Isn't that something? 37 years old. And so he would sing. He had a beautiful voice, and he was the chazan of the junior congregation.
Oh, so.
And so sometimes I used to do that too. They would let a girl, you know, they didn't let a girl do very much.
Really?
But they let me. I would get up there and do that too. And of course I taught Sunday school. So it left little time for me. I had very little time. You know, big sisters are always mean to their little brothers. And there was a time that I was too. I mean, I just, you know, telling them what to do and where to go and how to do it. And I do feel terrible for those times, but I guess it's just a fact of life, isn't it? Gene was the same way to Jay. And, but he was a wonderful boy. Oh, I also remember when Uncle Charlie got married to a shiksa. We all sat Shiva.
Really?
The whole family sat Shiva.
Oh my! Now who was
Do
Uncle?
they do that now?
No.
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 Well, I bet the Hasidic.
There's probably somebody that does still, but
The Lubavitcher.
nobody I know.
Uncle Charlie was dead as far as they were
Oh,
concerned, you know.
So who was Uncle Charlie?
My
Well, he was
my
alive.
mother's brother.
Oh my goodness. So can I ask, well, like how old were you when your father left? You were very young.
Robin's age.
Robin's age.
That's what I think of
Oh
now.
my.
Robin's age.
Wow. And she's 5?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
She's gonna be.
Oh my goodness. So how lucky she is that what you think? Or-
Yes. Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
And but it gives me a different view of it, being I see Robin and I see how old she is, and thought of myself at that age, you know. That was very young to have that happen.
Yeah.
So anyway.
That wasn't a happy time.
No, it wasn't. So we lived in one bedroom, but my grandmother cooked for all of the kids. You know, the kids, they were grown men and women, you know.
So how
And
many
also
people were in
then
this
there were-
house? Your mother and you two?
My grandmother and grandfather, and my mother and the two children, and Uncle Itzy, Uncle Morris, Uncle Molden, and Uncle Charlie.
Until Uncle Charlie married.
Until Charlie married a Shiksa and left.
Oh.
And then it was still all of us, you know. And it's so funny. When my grandmother used to make soup she'd make a great big pot of soup for everybody, you know, with the meat and the macaroni, whatever kind of soup, you know. And the guys were complaining, what kind of a supper is that soup? That's a supper? Every night we have soup for supper. And here's my grandmother. You don't like it? Go eat someplace else.
Good for her.
So she, of course, couldn't read any English at all, and she spoke very little English. But I used to read the newspaper to her. You know, we always sat on the swing on the front porch. And so I used to translate it to her and tell her. I don't know how I did that, but I would explain to her what happened so she would know the news.
And you were telling her
in the
Yiddish.
newspaper. Yes, I must have spoken to her in Yiddish, or else how could I have done it, you know? I would read the English. Yeah. Well, of course, they always spoke Yiddish, and the kids were not supposed to know what was going on, you know, but I loved languages, and that's why I know Yiddish so well now, as I paid attention and I liked it. When she died, well, she was very, very ill, and I remember at the end, she just had a night or so left. She was sleeping by herself in the bed, and she asked me to sleep with her. And that was I was scared. I was kind of scared because I knew how sick she was, you know. But anyway, when she died, the coffin was in the living room because, you know, they didn't take it. That was, you know, they buried them so fast.
That's how you do it. You stay with the dead in those days.
And I just remembered my grandfather crying over that over the coffin. And he said, Rivka Ruchel, that was her name. Rivka Ruchel, Zaymer Moichel. You know, he was just crying and saying that he just wanted her to forgive him. I guess there were things that he felt that he should be forgiven for, you know, and he was hoping that she would. And so, then it was just my mother and my brother and myself. I lived with my grandmother, and my mother worked, and she worked so very hard. She'd work all day at Maison Blanche down Canal Street, come home and clean up the house and help with the cooking. And she just did all the work. But she was the kind of person who liked to do it and did it. She worked very hard. And so, of course, when I was in high school is when my father came back. And this, I realize now, was the only chance for her to break away and make a life for herself. So she tried it again. But I was dumbfounded because she would even think of taking him back. I couldn't understand that, you know. But as I say, now I do understand it.
Can you remember Jean's birth when she was born?
Yeah. I lived right across the street from the hospital. We lived right across the street from the hospital where we heard the screaming, and here I was about to give birth. And I heard the screaming and the yelling from the mothers who were having the babies. It was so frightening. But I made up my mind then I was not going to yell. No matter what, I was not going to yell. And I didn't. I didn't yell at all. So that helped me with that. Although maybe it's better to yell, I don't know. Maybe it's easier to yell. So, but Jean really was such a gorgeous little girl. And, you know, as I tell her even now, you know how gorgeous the kids are now. So beautiful. They didn't come up to Jean. They didn't. She was just beautiful. We lived close to the family right on Barone Street. Had a little apartment there. And so then we just stayed there until we needed to, till Louis was sent someplace else, you know, we would just follow. Something good came out of the awful life that I had with Louis. And that was, it brought out my art. And in order to get away from the terrible life, I used to sit and paint. And that helped a lot. And he was so angry and upset that I was doing so well in painting that he decided he could do it too, you know. So he started painting. It didn't work. Well, the less said about that, the better.
So what prompted you finally, Jean and Jay wanted you to get a divorce. What
Yes.
prompted you finally to do it?
Huh?
Well, how come you finally did it?
Well, because they made me understand, you know, that it was the best thing for me to do, you know. And so I realized that they were right, that there was a way out, you know. And then we had a cat, and I gave him the cat. I miss the cat. I think I went to visit the cat a couple of times. Then I started living. That was the first time I started living.
Can you remember your first date with Dad?
Well, he came and picked me up at the house and we went dancing. We went to, it was sort of out of the city of Denver, you know. And it was a country club type thing. And so we just danced the whole evening and we had the best time. And then we went after that quite a few times for dinner and dancing. And then there were organizational things that they would have dinners, you know. And we went to one of those and he said, plan to go to all of them. And I did. Just wonderful. I didn't know what living was like till then. Just great. This is the love of my life. And we had this beautiful wedding. Remember the wedding? Mm-hmm. And the honeymoon. And we all went to, what was the name again of the town?
I'm remembering Colorado Springs. Is that where we went?
Oh, yeah, but no. Oh, yes, we all went to Colorado Springs.
Oh, and then we went to Cancun.
Cancun, yes, I couldn't remember. Cancun, yeah. And then we moved to Rancho Bernardo in California and had a lovely home together. Just didn't last long enough. It didn't last long. But it was the one period in my life that was the best of all. And I'm lucky that I did have that beautiful time, you know. But then, of course, did I ever tell you why I don't have a Southern accent?
No.
I never
But
told
you don't
that.
have a Southern accent.
I have never had a Southern accent. I came from New Orleans. I was born and brought up there.
Yeah.
And do not have a Southern accent. That's not easy.
No, how come?
I'll tell you how I arranged that. When people would come from the north or the west or the east to visit, I mimicked them.
Oh my.
I mimicked them, and I lost my Southern accent.
Even when you were in New Orleans.
I was just a little girl,
Yeah.
and I did not like the way they said Tepsico Street for Terpsichore, and you know, they mispronounced the names. It's horrible. It's horrible the way they talked. But how did I know that as a little girl? I just don't understand it, you know. Anyway, that's how come I don't have a Southern accent, because many people wonder about that. How come you came from New Orleans, you don't have a Southern accent, you know? And so many of my friends who left New Orleans still have very strong Southern accents. I didn't actually imitate them, but I would sort of, like, you know, instead of, in New York they say stand on line. In New Orleans they say stand in line. Things like that I would listen to, you know. And even to this day, I think it would be a fun thing to do, to learn a new language.
Mm.
I mean, a new one, maybe Japanese or Russian, or I'd love to do that.
Tell me about Edna. How did you become friends with Edna?
You know, so being we were both new in town, they tried to do things for us, and in that way we met each other and found out that our initials were both LL, Leonard Licht and Louis Lave, and we were born on the very same day of the very same year. I mean, really just twins, you know. And she had 2 children, and I had 2 children. And, there were so many similarities, you know. And so she loved art, and I loved art. And we both went to museums together. And so it was really something that we got together that way. And to be born on the very same day of the very same year.
Magical. So that's you and your best friend.
Yeah. Leah Schultz. And she's now Leah Perlman, and she lives in Memphis.
And you still have contact with her?
Oh, yes. We would spend our summers together. We'd go down to Bay St. Louis and Biloxi for the summer, and we would play badminton till we dropped, and we'd bicycle till we were so tired. And then Leah got married to Saul Perlman in Memphis and went to live there. In fact, she had me out to visit one time. And so we have just kept up all through the years. We kept up, we'd call and write. And so that's been a wonderful relationship. And as I was in Corsicana with Jean when she was born, and we had wonderful friends there, you know. Oh, the Woolens, they had department stores in Denver. And so they used to invite us to their homes, and they just loved Jean too, you know. thought the baby was just gorgeous, which she was. And I made many friends through them too, because I kept up with everybody.
You talked yesterday about how when you walked by the side of your house,
Oh, yeah.
you would sing songs. What songs
yeah.
would you sing, Yiddish or English?
Yiddish songs and English and all kinds of, I like to sing, and I like to, and I love languages.
I know you like You Are My Sunshine.
Yeah. I used to sing that I used to harmonize that with my brother. Can you harmonize?
Not well.
Can you sing You Are My Sunshine?
Uh-huh.
All right, do it.
You want to do it now?
Yeah.
I think I might turn the camera off.
Yeah, do it. We'll practice.
All right. You are my sunshine,
My sunshine,
my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
The other night, dear, as I lay dreaming, I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken, and I held my head and I cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.